Hello! I'm back for a second video today. Now, we're in a different location. This provides two benefits. Being in my room, making a video in my room, has forced me to make my bed, and also a change of scenery for the video. So, killing two birds with one stone. Now, Brady's here as well. Oh my god, why can't I? Yes, Brady. I wanted to come back today for a second video because I felt like the video I just uploaded, State of MMA. Hold up, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry. Oh my god. State of MMA is a bit of a negative conversation. Now, I'm gonna leave the video up because I feel like it's an important conversation to have, but at the same time, I do love MMA and I want to get on here and talk about something I can really be happy about, which is Jose Aldo, who just announced his retirement from the UFC this last weekend at UFC 3-something. I can't keep track of the numbers anymore. I just can't do it. But it's the one in Canada with Jack and Bilal. Okay, you know which one I'm talking about. Jose announced his retirement. And look, this is going to be a more positive conversation because I fucking love Jose Aldo. I think he's incredible. I think he is like top 5 fighters ever, and I stand on that because his longevity and his skills, incredible. I think he's amazing. I think it was an interesting move for him to go to 135 as opposed to 155, but we can talk about that. So he announced his retirement last weekend, and do I think Jose's going to fight again? Yeah, I fucking do, okay? I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I think he'll fight again. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's in the UFC. But for the sake of conversation, for the sake of taking Jose at his word, okay, we're going to talk about him like he's done, okay? And after that, we can talk about who I think he should fight. Because there's one fight out there for him that I would fucking die to see, bro. But Jose Aldo, what a guy. What a fucking guy. I think he is GOAT status. I think he has that type of resume, that type of experience. And something I love about artists in general, and yes, we're going to get pretentious here, okay? Mixed martial arts is an art. And Jose Aldo is an artist, and I'm a fucking pretentious asshole, and that's how I'm going to talk about this, okay? Jose Aldo as an artist, and something I love about artists in general, is longevity and the ability to adapt and evolve and to continue to challenge themselves and also to find new parts of themselves. And Jose Aldo is a prime example of that for me. Someone who's fought for so long, so many different fights, so many different styles, different promotions. And that's fucking inspiring to me. And the end of his career is very interesting to me. And we're going to start there. Because the end of his career, I guess you could say the end started in like 2019, okay? When he moves to 135, very oddly, but and the reason of that is because I probably don't need to explain if you're watching this, but he always struggled with weight cuts at 45. So if he's moving weight classes, it fucking made no sense for him to go to 35, in my opinion. I was like, what? He's going to 135? He could barely weigh 145. But the reasoning was he did it to feel more dedicated, to challenge himself more, to completely remove any distractions, or I don't know. Like, he felt so confident he could make 135, and he needed to be more dedicated than ever to the sport. And that's an interesting move for someone older to do. As you get older, you feel... Now, I've never cut weight, so these are my assumptions. I'm assuming the weight cut gets harder on your body, training gets harder. But he made a different decision a lateral decision to go the other way to the more challenging thing. And I think that's telling. I think that's very interesting. And I think that's kind of fucking badass. So his 35 run is like a whole separate chapter from his 45 run to me. And I actually really, really love his 35 run. I think he's had amazing fights there. Unfortunately, they've been kind of like publicly reprimanded because of the decisions. Like there was just so many weird close decisions that he didn't get the nod for that pissed me off, that he should have got the nod for, and I think it was fucking stupid. You could even argue he won this last fight that he had. But like for instance, like the Marlon Moraes fight, like I feel like Jose won that fight, but or is that the one? Yeah, that's the one Marlon won, but I feel like Jose should have won. Yeah, okay. Which people thought he won so much that Jose got a title shot off of it against Peter Yan. So, but the 135 run, you saw like every time I watched Jose fight at 35, I just felt like I was watching a fine wine. Like his skills just kept. He still was so skilled, and he just showed him. Win, lose, it doesn't matter, but his skills were there, and he's just a pleasure to watch, man. Jose is just a fucking pleasure to watch. Even the Piotr Yan fight, which ended tough for Jose, I think he still really competed in that fight against Peter Yan, who's like a fucking, I think, like S-tier striker in MMA. Like, for real, Peter Yan is fucking incredible. And Jose was competing with him on the feet, in my opinion. Like, dude, that's badass. And the weird part about his 35 run, though, Jose, is why was he fighting, like, with all due respect, people I've never heard of, up-and-comers? I wonder if that's part of Jose wanting to continue to, like, challenge himself. Same type of decision he made when he decided to go to 35 as opposed to 55. But I always thought it was strange. It was like there was the most obvious fight of all time sitting in front of you of Jose Aldo versus Dominic Cruz, and we couldn't make that fight somehow. Like, how did that not happen? Or Jose Aldo versus TJ Dillashaw. It's like, what are we doing, bro? Why are you guys doing this? Why are you making Jose fight fucking Mario Batista, with all due respect, but not a lot of people know him? It was so weird. And I wonder if that was Jose's decision, like, to continue to challenge himself. For some reason, part of me feels like that was his choice. I don't know. But I still really respect his career and that final run he had. But something I love about Jose has been consistency and not staying down, and like he gets knocked out by Conor McGregor, and Conor's my favorite fighter, okay? So like I was rooting for Conor fucking hard for that, and that just shows how amazing MMA is to the point where Conor's my favorite fighter of all time. But Conor has a lot of respect for Jose, and I still fucking love Jose. But Aldo gets knocked out by Conor in 2015, and then goes on another run and like continues to compete at the highest level, continues to win an interim belt, or was it vacant at the time? I don't know. Oh yeah, he won the interim, which turned into the regular lightweight or featherweight belt. It was fucking weird. But he continued to compete and hang around, win, lose, or draw, and that's what I love about this shit. I made another video on my channel called MMA is Subjective, something like that, where I talk about MMA being, what I believe, the most subjective sport out of any sport, more akin to like an art form. And Jose is a prime example of that, who, win or lose, I'm just fucking happy he's competing and showing his skills with confidence, still getting better, in my opinion, and still like challenging himself to fight these guys. He's so long and so cemented, he doesn't need to fucking fight Mario Batista and Zahabi. Like, he doesn't need to fight these guys, but he challenges himself, and he does, and I love that. Obviously, he has like a old, fucking legendary run as a 45er. Um, that kind of goes without explaining. Like, bro, he's one of the best featherweights of all time, arguably the best. And he didn't let that Connor stuff stop him from being great. And I fucking love that shit, dude. That's what I love about artists is consistency and staying in the game even when you don't need to. Just because you fucking love this shit and you feel like you still want to be in it. And no matter what other people say, how many people would say Jose Aldo's career is over? How many people said that shit after the Conor fight or after like he lost to Piotr Jan? Like all this shit. But he stayed in it, man. I fucking love that. Um, so yeah, he's someone I want to celebrate in the sport because I think he's very, very important. And I think he is still underrated. And I think his career is going to age like a fine wine if this is truly the end and we're looking back. Um, just amazing. One of my favorite things to watch in MMA is Jose Aldo throw body shots. Like, dude, he has some of the nastiest body shots and they look so clean. The body shots he landed on Jeremy Stevens, bro. Like, what the fuck, dude? And his leg kicks, obviously, like he's just a nice striker, bro, and I fucking love it. And I would love to train with him one day and spar with him and just feel his punches, feel his movement. Like he is an inspiring striker to me, an inspiring mixed martial artist to me, and he deserves to be celebrated. He really, really deserves to be celebrated. And I think a lot of people are. Now, with all that being said, part of me feels like he's gonna fight again in UFC. I wouldn't be surprised. Um, I know he has a real love and passion for boxing, so that might be the most obvious next step. But guys, the fight I want to see more than anything in UFC, more than any championship fight, bro. For me, for my love of the game, for my fucking heart and passion for this shit, is Conor versus Aldo 2. Aldo, let's get one more fight in, bro. Do this shit in Brazil or something. Like, bro, imagine Conor Aldo 2. I think it's a beautiful, like, bro, a beautiful story, beautiful competition. Like, because arguably, no, I mean, I was going to say the best, like, Conor performance. You just feel how good Conor is, even though it was so short, was the Aldo fight. Like, his movement, the build up, the training footage, you're like, bro, this guy is fucking, he's a wizard. And, but then he had the fucking Eddie Alvarez fight, which is like, okay, how do you top that? But I think it's a beautiful story to do Conor Aldo again, as my fucking Conor posters in here, to do Conor Aldo again because, like, I feel like Conor as an artist, he's like this comeback for him. I think it's gonna happen, and I think it's continuing to build in his mind. I was watching sort of, I don't know what to call her, a self-improvement YouTuber maybe. Her name is Bailey. I can't remember the last name exactly right now. It starts with an S, but she was explaining herself as like a slingshot getting pulled back as an artist, and she really wants to do something amazing. And I really relate to that. And she feels this slingshot getting pulled back, and eventually she's gonna fucking fire and do something incredible. I feel that way for Conor. I feel like him as an artist, this slingshot is just keeps getting pulled back more and more and more, and eventually his comeback is gonna happen. And I feel like that's why you see him. I mean, this turned into a whole nother conversation, but follow along with me. I feel like that's why you see him being so out of fighting, like into politics and all this other stuff. You see him being so out of it, but it's slowly, the slingshot slowly pulling back, and eventually that fucking, the thing that got him here in his heart, in his soul, is gonna come back. And I would love to see that. Yes, against Chandler, but fucking against Aldo, dude. Like, against the one where that was like the first climax of the Conor story. You could argue the Mendes one was, of course, but it was all leading to the Aldo fight. That was like that whole 2015 year. That was the book stamp on there. You know, that was the fucking end of that chapter. And so to see them come back and do it again, like 10 years later, at their points in life, I just think would be incredible and amazing. And I think could be one of the biggest fights ever, but I don't even fucking care how many pay-per-views it does. For the love of the game, I want to see that shit, man. I really, really want to see that. I think it would be amazing for Conor. I think it would be amazing for Aldo. And I just think, which goes back to my last video, the state of MMA, I think as a community, we could all really get behind that, because now they have so much love and respect for each other, and it would be so full circle, but you would still feel this amazing passion and love of the game that they both have, and hopefully it would ignite a lot of that in the fan base too. And I just think that fight would be sick, man. And they probably won't make it, unfortunately, but just know if I was running the fucking UFC, I would do everything in my power to put that fight together. And that would be incredible. Do it in Brazil, do it in Ireland or something, or just fucking do it in Vegas, whatever. But I would love that, and I would love that for Aldo, because I feel like Aldo, could he call it here? Yes, of course. And he has every right, and he should be completely proud of himself. If this is the end, he should be fucking absolutely proud of himself. He has nothing to prove. I think he is one of the best ever. But selfishly, I feel like it would be incredibly meaningful if he went out on a fight like that, or at least in a fight in Brazil against a big name. You know, for him to be a little bit more celebrated. You don't really expect Jose Aldo to retire in Canada, you know? Like, we kind of expected it in Brazil or the fight capital. And I think he deserves something like that. Pay-per-view main event, 5 rounds versus Conor in Brazil. I would just love that as a fan, as someone who really cares about this sport and the fighters in it. But we'll see what happens. I think Aldo will fight again. I want him to compete again just selfishly because I love watching him. But if he doesn't, like I said, amazing career. And truly, truly a legend of this sport. Part of the reason that I fell in love with this sport. Like I said, I was cheering for Conor in that fight, but Aldo was, you know, the other main character of that story. And oh my god, voice crack. I'm not gonna cry, it was a fucking voice crack. He was the other main character of that story, and that's very meaningful to me, and I'm so happy for him. Incredible athlete, incredible fighter. And yeah, so I wanted to come on here and celebrate Aldo and just discuss a legend. And yeah, so have a good day, guys. Peace.